Hey guys, kind of reviewing another classic movie for you guys, and this movie we're reviewing, I know you probably don't consider this movie a classic because it did come out several years ago, and to me though, this is a movie that I've always really wanted to check out. I think it probably is going to be a classic further down the road, and it's definitely something that I've always been very intrigued by, and it was a movie that I knew I really want to check out, and that movie is the 2006 thriller classic, soon to be classic, I think, Children of Men. Now, Children of Men, I've wanted to see this movie for a very long time. I remember I heard about the concept when it first came out. I wasn't allowed to watch it because I was like, what, like 6 or 5 or something like that. I was young when this came out. I know that. I don't know exactly what age, but I was definitely young, and I remember I was really looking forward. I remember, I remember hearing about it, and I've been interested in it ever since, definitely. And I figured I'd watch it this year because it just sounded really interesting to me, and I really want to check it out. And plus, like, a lot of reasons, which I'll get into, really, one of the reasons I want to check it out. But overall, guys, after watching Children of Men, what do I think of Children of Men? Children of Men was a bit different than what I thought it was going to be, but it still is an incredibly fascinating film with some very devastating scenes, as well as some of the just amazing action scenes and nothing to talk about, and it definitely deserves all of the praise that it's gotten over the years and all the critical acclaim and things it got when it first came out. So let's get to the plot of Children of Men, because obviously the plot to this movie, that's what drew me in. The plot, I think, is one of the most original ideas I've heard. I think it's a really cool idea. Obviously, it's based off a book, but it's still a very original idea. Something that probably could happen further, maybe a few years in the future. Maybe not now, but a few years in the future. Basically, the movie takes place in 2027, basically. Where basically ever since basically for whatever reason there is now this whole thing where women can no longer have babies. They no longer can procreate and things like that. We don't really know why exactly, but basically they've stopped being able to have babies, and we see that things are really bad in the UK is one of the only places that actually still has a functioning government. All these other places have gone corrupted, and the UK is very slowly becoming corrupted. And basically Clive Owen's character, Theo, is approached by his ex-wife Julian, who basically Julian offers him the chance to look after this woman who seemingly is going to have a baby we don't know how, but seemingly she's going to be able to have a baby and have the first baby in 27 years, and he has to accompany her on this mission and get away from all of the corruptness and things going on. That basically is the plot of Children of Men, and the plot of this movie, like I said, is awesome. That's one of the things that drew me in right away, and I definitely really did appreciate that. But there are a lot of things to love of this movie, definitely. I think there are definitely some things that still do stand out. Even though the movie was made in 2006, it still is extremely impressive. Obviously, it's not that old. It was 2006, not that long ago. Let's get to the caster, because the cast, I mean, this movie is one of the most stellar casts I've seen in a while. I remember when I looked at the cast, I'm like, I gotta check this out. Like, the cast is so good here. Clive Owen, though, is without a doubt the star of this movie as Theo. I mean, he is our main character. You really root for him. You understand what's going on, and his character, I think, is very interesting because he's very aware of the situation. He has a lot going on in his life, but he's very aware. You can tell he's very used to what's going on, and he definitely does have a lot going on in his life, we find out, especially when Julianne Moore comes in. We find out he actually had a child that died during a flu pandemic, and yes, Theo is the everyman, but I also feel, not only is he the everyman in this movie, because, pretty much he is us in the movie, like how we react to this situation, definitely, but he is the quintessential hero. He wants to make a difference. He wants to do right. He doesn't know if there can be a difference, but once he finds out the possibility, he does actually want to follow through. But obviously, he does have beliefs and things like that. He's not really sure if this is the right thing to do, if he's really going to make it out of this, and I really love about his character. They did a great job of this character. He was, I think he was very dramatic. You really cared about his character, you really felt for him. I thought he did a very good job. He was a great lead and pretty badass as well. Like, you could definitely tell this is a guy that he's going to help no matter what happens, and he's going to make sure that he gets out of there, and he was just awesome. I loved what he did in the movie. Julianne Moore, not in the movie as much as you think, if you guys know what happens to her, which she ironically actually plays a girl named Julianne, that's just really cool. The fact she plays this girl, Julianne, I think that's really cool. I really liked her character as well. I thought she was really great. The way that she approaches Clive Owen isn't necessarily to help him out, but basically to assign him this mission, I thought was very good. Definitely you can tell where things went wrong in the relationship. I thought she was pretty good overall. I definitely really did appreciate her role. Michael Caine Michael Caine is awesome in everything he's in. I've never seen him this funny though, because he is Theo's dealer when he does drugs, and he's also his best friend. And a lot of the movie, he's very high and very erratic, very not erratic, but just very hyper, things like that. And he's a lot of fun to watch. He kind of is there is some really nice dark comedy with him, which I really did enjoy. But it also is kind of sad because of the fact that you can tell that Jasper is dealing with this situation through drugs. That's kind of how he is coping with it. He knows that humanity is dying, and basically the only way that he can kind of stay stable is through drugs. And Michael Caine actually said that he actually got this idea from John Lennon, because when John Lennon had tough times, if you guys know, he smoked cannabis, things like that, and that's kind of the inspiration for Jasper. I thought it was a very good choice, and what I like with Michael Caine is that he wasn't just a funny guy. He did actually have layers to his character. You care about his character, and I really liked it. I thought he did a very good job. Chiwetel Ejiofor, yes, Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this movie. Before he was like famous in 12 Years a Slave, which I'm also watching this year, finally. Mainly because I have the Blu-ray and haven't watched it, so I want to watch it for the first time this year. He was fantastic as Luke, because you really don't know if you can trust this guy. This is the one guy in the mission that's just very shady. He seems to be leading them in the wrong direction, and I thought he did a very good job. I definitely really did like his character. Charlie Hunnam was good too. We don't really remember his character, but I thought he was really good. Claire Hope Ashetai, I haven't seen her in anything else, but she was fantastic as Key, because I mean, the movie really is a story between Theo and Key. It's Theo learning who Key is, learning that Key, I mean, Key has a lot going on. Not only is she the first pregnant woman in 18 years, but she's also an illegal immigrant, and she's dealing with that, and she did not actually appear in the book, I heard. Basically, this was all based on an idea that the director had, which I thought was a very smart idea, because she really brings up a lot of heart in the movie and a lot of points of what would you do with this woman in the society. I mean, imagine a society where there are no more pregnant women, and then this woman is pregnant. Obviously, everyone would target her for it. They'd antagonize her. They'd want to steal the baby, things like that. I mean, you can't imagine how many women there'd be that just want to have a baby, because obviously, that's one of the things that when, you're a young woman, you kind of just decide that you do want a baby or you don't want a baby, things like that. I don't really know, but, there are probably women that do want a baby, and it's just a very fascinating character. I thought she did a very good job, and especially the way that she reveals that she's pregnant, the way that, she reveals that he can trust her. It's a very genuine scene. I really love that, and it kind of changes their relationship. Their relationship is one of the best relationships throughout the movie. You can see he'll do anything for her. I definitely really love that, and I really love the way that the movie, and I really thought that they did a very good job with her character. They put her through a lot of hell. You could definitely tell the pain that she was going through, but you could also see that she wants this done. No matter what happens, she wants to have this baby. She doesn't care that it might not be possible, but she wants to have this baby no matter what, and I definitely really did appreciate that. Overall, everyone did a great job. This cast is just fantastic, and I think everyone really did a fantastic job in their roles. The directing here by Alfonso Cuarón. He also did Gravity, and he's done other stuff, but that's like the one thing that stands out. He did a great job directing this movie, because what I love is that he told a very realistic story. The tone of this movie is very realistic. That really is the tone. It's a very realistic tone. And I like that it's current. It's not too far into the future. Yes, 2027 back then was far into the future, but the epidemic happened in 2007, which, the movie came out in 2006. So you figure that, it's trying to be this cautionary tale, and that's something I definitely really did love. I thought the directing here stayed very grounded. I really love that the directing was very well done. Definitely something I thought was really good. But the movie isn't completely dark. Like I said, there are some dark comedy in there, and it is trying to show that there are ways of people, trying to get away from this thing. And of course, with comedy, comedy comes from tragedy, and this movie explores that very well. The way that they have little inklings of dark humor, basically just so these characters can humor themselves, because, I mean, they're so lost. I mean, like I said, humanity is on the glimpse of dying. It pretty much seems like there's not much left, and basically they're just trying to do whatever they can to entertain themselves and keep themselves, and keep themselves sane, basically, even if it's ridiculous ways. I thought that was definitely really good, definitely really loved the directing, and I thought that was really great. The screenplay here is fantastic. My only issue with the screenplay is that I did feel that before Julianne Moore's character came into the movie, I was into it, but I wasn't as into it till she came into the movie. Once she came into the movie, I was locked in, I really enjoyed it, and then I thought it was very good. But I did think there were a couple slow scenes in the beginning. I thought it was a very good setup, but I thought it was a bit slow. I definitely will say that. But I did think the screenplay overall was just great, because this is probably one of the most realistic depictions of a dystopian future I've seen, because this isn't one of those dystopian futures where everything's black and everything's dark and things like that. No, if there were to be some sort of dystopia, this is pretty close to what I think would happen. I mean, what they do in this movie, what I love is that they never go fully sci-fi. Yes, the plots, the idea of women not being able to have children is kind of sci-fi, but it feels to me much more like a cautionary tale. Like if we don't do, if we don't provide ourselves with the proper resources and we don't try to keep this, planet is, to try to keep this planet in good condition, stop, littering, things like that, we're gonna end up, we're gonna end up having to lose children. And you just have to imagine, I mean, think of what children bring to the world, and without children being born, obviously humans are slowly dying because, a baby is born every second. That's just how it is. Everyone says, oh, a baby's born every second and a person dies every second. That's kind of how it is, and I think the movie portrayed that really well. I really love that, but I also love that they didn't make a big deal of it. Like, it's not very exposition heavy. They give you some information here and there, but you never really never find out why this actually happened because it's not necessarily important. I feel like what it's more about is just how the characters deal with this. We already know what they're going through. We don't really need to know what happened. I was perfectly fine with that. I thought the screenplay was really great, and there's always this constant sense of edge. Like, it always feels like there's something that's about to happen. It's one of those kind of movies which I really did love. It is an on-the-run movie. Like, they're all on the run trying to get this woman, the proper shelter and let her have this baby and get away from the people that don't want her to have the baby. But it never felt like it was just, tons of action and no room for talking. No, there is times where they slow down, and I really did love that. I thought it was a good balance between those two, and I really did appreciate that. Overall, the screenplay here is just, it really does make this movie. It's fantastic, the way they built the world, everything about it. I pretty much love the screenplay. I love the way the characters connected. I love pretty much everything about it. Let's get to cinematography, because this is probably some of the most amazing cinematography I've ever seen. I mean, the cinematography in this movie is simply outstanding. I mean, you would think that there is an apocalypse going on. You would think that this is a dystopia. It just looks that realistic. Like I said, if we were to have a dystopia, this is pretty close to what I think we would have. Look at the thumbnail of this video. That's pretty close to what I think would happen, and it is pretty accurate, definitely. Obviously, it hasn't happened, but I do think it is pretty close to what actually is going to happen. I thought they did that really well. There are some really, really great one-take scenes I'll get to with the editing, but the cinematography here was fantastic. I really love the way the cinematography was done. Really great stuff in that area. The score here I thought was great. They don't use the score a ton, but when they use the score, it's very intense. I really appreciate it. A very good score and very tense stuff for this movie. The editing, though, I really want to talk about the editing because the editing is definitely one of the things that makes this movie stand out as much as it does. There are a couple one-take scenes in this movie, and particularly, you guys know, the car chase scene. Oh my god, the scene where they're being followed by this car and there's all this chaos going on. There's these guys following them. You don't really know if they're going to get out of this. It's an incredibly tense scene. It's probably the highlight of the movie, and I was just gripping my seat. Intense stuff. There are so many intense scenes like that throughout the movie, and like I said, a lot of these guys here, they don't know if they can trust each other, and that's something I definitely really did like. I thought that was really well done, and it's a very human story as well, and it really kept it very grounded. Like, it kept the movie as, you were watching events happen, you felt like you were sucked into this world, and the fact that it was one take, I thought was very well done, because, yeah, it would be one take, and I thought that was really well done. They didn't try to overdo it, and it never felt like they were doing an overabundance of, action scenes. It felt like they did it at the right time. They had to have, obviously, a lot of chaos going on. You really do feel that chaos, and I thought that was really great. I really love that. The movie also had a really ballsy ending, which I really do appreciate, and I like that the movie did go in the direction that it did, because it could have gone in a really, I think, more predictable direction, and it didn't, so I'm happy that it went in a more unexpected direction. And the movie did get, actually, it was nominated for 3 Academy Awards. It didn't win anything, unfortunately, but it did get Best Adapted Screenplay, which it definitely deserved. And then, obviously, best cinematography. Like I said, cinematography is gorgeous, and then the editing definitely deserved all 3 of those things. And overall, guys, I love Children of Men. I think it's a fantastic movie. Other than a few slow scenes, I think this is a pretty perfect movie. It's I think, a perfect representation of what could actually happen. The movie also is a very, not necessarily hopeful tone, but it does kind of end with us thinking things might get better, just because of the way the movie ends, which I really did love. Which the ending of this movie, I think, is both very sad, because there is one part that's very sad to watch, but also kind of hopeful. Like, it does give you this hope that maybe we'll be able to, maybe we will be able to prevail. Maybe we will be able to move on and, get back to the way society should be. The movie doesn't necessarily say that, but it does give you that hope, and I like that the movie did that. I thought that was very well done, and I like that it wasn't completely dark. I mean, obviously, it's sad, but I thought that was really great. I really love that, and the ending of the movie, I mean, the last scene between Key and Theo that we had at the end of this movie, I thought was really great. I mean, I'm sure if you guys have seen it, you know what I'm talking about, but it's a very emotional scene. I really loved it, and I thought it was a very well-handled scene. And there's one aspect with Clive Owen's character I forgot to talk about that I'm not going to talk about, but I think it was one of the coolest things they did in this movie. There's something happens to him in the beginning of this movie and affects him throughout the entire movie, and it really added this really cool effect to his character, and I definitely really did appreciate that. But overall, guys, I love Children of Men. I think it's a fantastic movie. It's thrilling. It's it's extremely compelling. Like, it's a movie that really you want to think a lot about and think of, could society end up this way? How can you prevent this from happening? Like I said, I think it's a great cautionary tale in that way. It has some incredible performances. It's just it's beautiful to look at. Well, not necessarily beautiful, but it's a great movie to look at. It's a movie you kind of watch, you want to show off your TV. I watched this on a 4K TV. It looked incredible. Because I have a 4K TV and it looked incredible that way. It has great directing and great screenplay, and it did add things from the book. I don't know if I'm going to read the book. I'm kind of interested in the book just because of the concept in general. I want to see kind of what the book says because I want to know if the book gave an actual reason for this happening, because I don't think the movie ever gave a reason. If it did, I'm sorry. I might not have seen it, but I might not have noticed that, but I don't think the movie actually gave a specific reason. But overall, guys, I absolutely love Children of Men. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 or an A. I strongly recommend you guys check out this movie. I definitely would recommend it. It's a great movie. It is, like I said, a little bit slow at times, but I definitely really loved it, and it definitely deserves all the hype it's been getting, and probably become one of my favorite movies further down the road. I feel like the more I watch it, the more I'll like it. But overall, guys, I don't know what you guys thought of Children of Men. If you have seen, love to hear your thoughts on it. We'll see you guys next week, which will be for Empire. I know you guys have been waiting for it, and then we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.